Marlene.
Allegedly.
All right. I find myself saying allegedly.
A lot. Me too.
Yeah, I keep saying
Everything's a legend to me.
every time I say it, even though I said it before, every time I say it now, I think of you, though. I always go, allegedly.
I know. I've copywritten those words, trademarked them.
Yeah.
Those are my words now.
Well, how's everything going? Your fish doing okay? And
No, we're in another fish crisis, Gray. That's what I've been working on all morning.
you know what's weird is I never had fish crisis you just put some of that ick thing in there and call it a day. Put a little salt in your freshwater tank.
My freshwater guys are okay, even though they did all come to me sick. But I knew that they were going to be sick. It's the saltwater guys.
Yeah, that's a hard
difficult to
one.
maintain.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Oh, very, very difficult. Yep.
Cool.
We brought home a new fish, and it had one little ick spot, and I didn't think much of it. I should have, because then it went.
Oh, that's a little bit like the coronavirus. Oh, there's one guy. Who cares, right?
One guy, no problem. Yeah. Now I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I've ordered every medication on the earth and had to catch the dog face puffer and put him in his own tank today without making him puff. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a weird looking fish. Kind of cool looking. I mean, it's weird that there's fish that look like that. When I say weird, okay, it's what a beautiful fish that is.
He is beautiful fish.
Yeah.
He's very beautiful, actually. Thank you.
Yeah.
All of this for one fish. Huge tanks. It's just out of control now. So yeah, let's move on because I feel crazy. I feel like I'm a crazy person now.
Yeah.
I'm a crazy fish lady.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna. Should I switch? All right. There we go. I'm just making sure things are working.
It worked.
Yeah. So this is a case that I talked about the other day, called it's George, Heinrich, and Marlene Mazzola.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's in Butte, Montana, and there's a whole bunch of cases in Butte, Montana, around the same time, and some of them you look at and go, wow, how could those not be connected? I mean, like where people live and everything. I mean, it's just right next to the other one. I mean, it's just really strange. But this is one that I thought, wow, this one's pretty interesting. So
yeah, this one was interesting. As I was reading it over, I was like, what? This is weird.
Yeah, so this is the cold case, and then she'll be doing a missing persons case. And what's that one?
Ciera Breland. She's been missing since the end of February. Very suspicious circumstances. So
yeah, that one sort of seems like it might have like the classic, almost like this, what goes on in cases like that. But anyways, here we go. We're going to start with this. So this is back in 1980, and I don't know where I am right now, but hold on. I think I need to start right here. I thought the arrow key down. Okay, so George was 58 years old, and Marlene was 42, and George was a wealthy rancher, cattle buyer, and broker, and you can even go back in the papers and find where his name's in there, and he's making deals with people and so forth. He served in the Navy in World War II from 1941 to 46, so he was right in the middle of it. The now single George and Marlene had recently met and had only had one date prior to September 20th. Marlene, who lived at 2114 Lewis Avenue, Billings, Montana, she was separated from her husband, who runs a body shop in Butte, so lives in the same town. She was to receive final divorce papers soon. She was a native of Butte and had moved to Billings in July of 1979. I guess this is in Billings, actually, not Butte. She worked for Avon, and then so she was like a regional. She was a pretty high up Avon. But Avon's sort of a multi-level marketing, right?
Yeah, it was super popular back then too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still popular, but back then it was very popular.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot it was Billings. He came from Butte. Marlene had been out of town to Denver, and George was anxious to see her again.
Right. So it wasn't like they had some big connection where they'd been carrying on for months and months they just dated once.
Yeah,
and
they
then
did.
had
Yeah,
one more date.
this is just the second date,
Right.
and it's on September 20th, 1980, is their second date. And let me just show here really quick. So this is where she lived, right here in. Let me just make sure. I'm not sure why I got the town. Let me make sure I got the right town here. I was pretty, because it says Billings Elk Club. That's right. So it's Billings, Montana. That's what I was thinking. All right, so right down here is where she lived at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just in this little cute
Pretty
house.
little neighborhood.
Yeah, right there. All right, so just keep that in your mind. So this is the north-south oriented look here. And let me move to the next one. George invited Marlene over, and so she drove her vehicle to his house on Highway 312. It was so hard to find that house because there was no address mentioned ever. I actually did it by visually looking at the image of the crime of the house in crime scene photos, and I was like flying over the air, and I finally saw it. I mean, it took forever, and they gave a different highway multiple times. It wasn't 312, it was some other one, and then 3 different ones, so it was almost impossible.
What?
Yeah, I mean, in the newspapers. So anyways, it was Highway 312, about 5 miles northeast of Billings. Yeah, so she went there prior to, that was their date, so she drove over there, and it was like 5 miles northeast of Billings in the afternoon, or the early evening on September 20th, 1980. George had purchased choice cuts of meats, that's how it referred to it 2 or 3 times in the paper, to barbecue for her. Like, he bought some really good food, and they ate, and then they watched television. And I guess they probably know that they watched television, because later he called up his family and said he'd meet them at the Elks Lodge. So he probably said, well, we're just watching a movie. I mean, there's no way they would know that they were watching a movie unless somebody So they were then to meet his sister and brother at the Elks Lodge. The communication from George to his family is likely how law enforcement knows they were watching television. That's what I was thinking. The lodge, located at 934 Lewis Avenue, was filled with people by the time George and Marlene arrived, so they weren't able to sit with George's family on the dance floor. However, George was able to introduce Marlene to some family members. So when they were on the dance floor, they weren't able to sit with them, but they were on the dance floor. They were saying, "Hey, this is Marlene." So it's a brand new thing. It doesn't make you think that there's somebody like, "Oh man, she's gonna get the inheritance" or something.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And let me just show. So this is where she lives, and then this is the Elks Club. I mean, when you look at the Elks Club, it's kind of almost looks like a bowling alley the way it doesn't really look like much, but there it is. So that's where they had the dance, and then she had driven all the way up to George's house right here, and that's the house back here. So there's this long lane that goes back there. All right, so there's George's house. All right, we'll get back to here. And then George's family had all left the lodge, while George and Marlene stayed and listened to music played by a band and then at 1:30 a.m. on September 21st, so really early in the morning, Marlene and George left the lodge. They walked to the parking lot and got into George's 1978 white Chrysler 2-door hardtop and headed for George's house. It's possible that they stopped on the way home. It's mentioned in the paper because I think there's a little time missing when there's a witness who saw a vehicle. All right, they stopped. Let's see. It's possible they stopped on the way home. Investigators believe they drove into George's garage. They then got out of the vehicle. The door from the garage to the house was unlocked, and George's keys were found on the steps outside the door. It is believed they were frightened and surprised by someone and ran to the upstairs bedroom. Perhaps as the garage door was shutting, 1 or 2 men entered the garage. So you could see them pulling into the garage, and then these people come in as the door's shutting. They're like, "Oh crap," and they run through the door, and he drops his keys and the door's unlocked, and they run to get away, and they run up to the bedroom. I guess they have nowhere else to go, you know.
I mean, so I'm going to assume, of course, the man she was divorcing was probably questioned, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's the first person that you might think of, right? Like, it's not even done yet, the divorce. It's almost finalized. So you could see somebody, you know, if they're stalking her and they see her
She's
out
dating.
with some other guy. Yeah, exactly. So he's pissed off. You can see that angle, but then that doesn't really jive with some of the other stuff, I guess. But
Right.
discovery: George and Marlene were found lying on the floor by George's 18-year-old adopted daughter, Peggy, at 4 p.m. the day of the murder. So, you know, this was like 1:30 to 2 in the morning when they were killed, and then 4:30 in the afternoon, or 4 in the afternoon, the stepdaughter finds them, and then she went to a neighbor's house to get some help, and by 4:30 p.m. the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Department was working the case. Peggy apparently lives at the home with George, but wasn't there during the murders. Where was she? Who knew she wouldn't be there? I mean, it's interesting.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Oops. All right. There were no signs of forced entry into the home. The bedroom, which has no locks, was smashed open. Because of this, investigators believe that George tried to hold the door closed. So imagine, like, you've got your new girlfriend behind you. You're pushing the door shut as hard as you can, and somebody's just bashing it in.
Oh, that had to be terrible.
Oh, it was a nightmare. And so, you know, the door was closed, and the assailant tried to get into the room. George and Marlene both died of asphyxia. So then that's a little weird. I mean, you got two people in there. So it makes you think that there's two people here, because the victims were made to lie on the floor. Their hands were tied behind their backs. Unless you had a gun, force one to tie the other one. And then, I guess, I don't know how you would then tie the one by yourself. See, that'd be really difficult. Even with a gun, how do you tie the one guy's hands, right? The victims were made to lie on the floor. Their hands were tied behind their backs with electrician's tape. Hoods were placed over their heads, and their faces were beaten.
That seems so personal.
Right.
To suffocate them and beat their faces with hoods on their heads.
Yeah, it's also weird that you put hoods on there. I mean, everything's just strange. I mean,
yeah, so you brought hoods with you, electrical tape. You put hoods over their heads and beat them in the face?
Yeah, it's very personal. I think both things, the strangulation's personal, and then also just beating somebody over and over again. I mean, were they looking for something and they recognized them? I mean, they knew them. I don't know. Why put a hood over their face if you're going to kill them?
Right.
You know?
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Makes me think almost they wanted to kill them in that way. It makes me think they didn't have, well, I don't even know.
Or it's like the person knew who they, let's see. Or it could be that
like they knew them, but they didn't want to look at their faces as they killed them or something.
Yeah, something like that. Or they didn't want them, they wanted to kill them, but they didn't want them pleading to a specific person. Like, hey, Jim,
Stop, or yeah.
I don't know.
Ugh.
And I think she was just kind of an unfortunate, I mean, unless the husband, then that's how you bring in the husband, but I don't know. They were both found fully clothed and had not been sexually assaulted. There were throat injuries on both victims, which indicated they were strangled to death.
And that's very personal.
Yeah,
they'll always say that strangling is personal because it's not quick.
No, it takes 3 to 5 minutes to kill somebody.
Yeah, and I mean, oh gosh.
And so if there was one person, that would have taken 10 minutes,
Yeah.
George was missing 2 rings, so now it gets kind of some weird conspiracy stuff, but he was missing 2 rings. One was a $16,000 diamond yellow gold ring with 2.5 carat diamond center stone, so a huge diamond in the middle, surrounded by 7 quarter carat diamonds.
That's a big ring.
Yeah. The other yellow gold ring was a Masonic crest, and the letter G probably standing for George. So it was a Masonic ring, probably G for George in the middle. A 5-inch tall clock with a gold frame and base and round white faced edge with rhinestones was also taken. So the clock had gold frame, white faced edge with rhinestones. There was cash.
You can't sell that though. Think about that.
Yeah, people would go, "Oh wait, I've seen." It would just.
Yeah, we know what was taken. You can't go unless you live in a totally different state.
Yeah, the ring, you could take the diamonds out somehow and bring it somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody would buy it. And then it says cash that was in the house was not taken though. So police do not believe this was a robbery was the motive here.
Right. It just seemed like a good opportunity to grab, the 2 rings he had on. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
But, maybe the clock was sitting right there, so they grabbed that too and then ran. But it just sounds much too personal.
What if George was killed? It was like a hit on George, and somebody, and the ring was to be proof. The big, the Masonic ring was proof that he was killed. But the killer was like, "Shit, I'm taking this $16,000 one." But I don't know about the clock. So the clock is a little bit strange, though, right?
Yeah. I can only imagine what it looked like, gold with rhinestones.
Okay, somebody said Kat said that she thinks all Masonic rings have a G in the middle. Well, maybe they do. I didn't really.
Yeah, I think they do. They have that G and then the triangle and.
What does the G stand for?
That. I forget what it stands for now, but
I was actually going to look it up.
Yeah, the G and then the little symbols and the
there you go. Yeah,
triangle.
So that's what they look like, something like that.
Yeah.
I wonder what the G means.
It's like a whole deal. I don't know.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. So police do not believe robbery was a motive.
It doesn't sound like it.
The killers left in Darlene's car. So that's another thing that's weird. So she drives over there, and they left in her car. And then you think, well, shit, the husband may have had a spare key to her car, except the killer would have access to her key as well because she's right there.
Right.
And why did they take her car and not his car? It's like was there a reason for that, or was it just
why? Why'd they leave in her car and then they dump it at a truck stop?
Yeah, totally.
And now, of course, dun dun dun.
The killer left in Darlene's car and dumped it at a truck stop near Main and Highway 3. Let me show you where that is, and then we'll get to the obligatory red vehicle.
We've got a red truck, people.
Yeah, so just picture it like this. Here's where Darlene started off her evening and ends up driving over. Obviously, she was at Heinrich's house. She makes it over here. Then Heinrich and her drive back into Billings.
To the Elks
go to the Elks Club. Then they stay there till like 1:30. Then together they drive back to his house, and her car's there. And then she was probably going to stay overnight there. But then they get murdered, and then somebody takes her vehicle, drives it back this way, and it's parked in this area right around in here.
How? That's just so strange.
Yeah, so let's say my theory is that there's 2 killers. One of them met the other killer here. Then they went together up here, and then for some reason, I think at that point they separated. One killer went maybe that way, the other one. Then he drove Marlene's car back here, parked it, got into his car, and went somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's so because it's not like you're going to walk 3 miles or something. That doesn't.
No, you're not.
So there's a reason he drove it and parked it there. It's like almost like the person lived in this area, maybe in Billings itself. Anyways, let me get back to So here we go. A red older model pickup truck with a missing tailgate was seen going up the long driveway to George's house at 2 a.m. So that's why I think that they think they may have stopped somewhere, because they left at 1:30. It doesn't take, it's only 5 miles, right? That would take maybe 7 minutes if you're not even driving fast. Maybe, let's just say 10. Well, there, and then that means they probably believe that they got home just before that pickup truck, because remember how they came into the garage? It wasn't like it was later that they were surprised, or there wouldn't have been a key on the floor from the garage to the house.
So a red older model pickup truck is seen around 2 a.m. So they drive up there, they park the car somewhere where it can't be seen,
Yeah, you can see
and then
it
they
right there.
ambush them in the garage or just as they're getting into the house.
Well, but see, I think that they followed them. See, I mean, to me, it seems like they
maybe
waited.
from the lodge. Maybe they
Yeah.
saw his rings and. But
And it's right back here. That's the house.
what kind of weirdo, though? You know, you see them at the lodge and you're thinking, I want those rings. You want them that much? That
Yeah,
you're
I don't
gonna
know.
follow them?
I think there was some other motive. Like they think that wasn't the mode of robbery. So I think it was when the truck seen pulling down the driveway at 2, they probably, yeah, that's the thing, is why didn't the witness say, well, I also saw George driving down the driveway
Right.
just prior to that, but you don't hear that part, so we don't really know. Maybe there was somebody there first and then somebody else met him there in the red truck. I don't know. It's just one of those crazy factual
That's
things.
very weird.
But
This is
it could be that's when George and Marlene just pulled into the garage. Then this truck comes down there, sort of quietly, and they're still in the garage, and somehow it gets in there,
ambush.
or there was no red truck, and the person just thought of a different day. Yeah. Okay.
There's never a red truck.
Yeah. Actually, I have some. Hold on one second. Here's an actual photo from the time of the house. So that's it back there. See?
Yeah, see, nobody was sneaking up there quietly in an old truck.
And there's the
It's a gravel road.
garage door right there. Yeah, it's a gravel road, but you could have just pulled up. You know, if you're already in the garage, you might not hear it. You know, like you're in the garage.
Maybe,
You know.
maybe, but it seems somewhat isolated.
Yeah, and
It's not
it seemed like
house
you're
by house by house.
Yeah, and you're
know?
going to give away you're there. You're going to
For
give away
sure,
that
yeah.
you're there just by driving down this long road. It's like easy to spot you. Like they could have got in the house, looked back, and oh wait, there's a truck coming down.
True.
I mean, it could also be that the key just happened to fall. I mean, that's the thing, is like sometimes random shit happens. It does seem to indicate that the key, like he was in a hurry and then got the hell out of the garage. But I mean, it could just be that the key fell and then these guys broke. But there was no that's another thing. There was no sign of a break-in to the house.
Right.
So that means they probably did go through the garage and went through the unlocked door from the garage to the house.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, so a red older model pickup truck with a missing tailgate was seen going up the long driveway to George's house at 2 a.m. around the same time George and Marlene arrived at George's house. The Sheriff's Department detective force has checked into about 20 leads, but none have checked out. There has never been any significant or strong piece of evidence that has come to us, said Maxwell. I think that's the sheriff. They've interviewed 150 people, from business associates to acquaintances, who knew either victim, and came up with 4 suspects, but all have been eliminated. So that's just such a crazy, you know. Even though it's short, it's interesting because it's like, man, you know, like here we got a Darlene and him just recently met. They had one date. This is just the second date, but obviously George was sort of smitten with her. I mean, he's like, ooh, he went and bought choice cuts of meats. Yeah, I had her come to his house after she came back from a trip, I think regarding Avon or something. Comes back to his house. They eat dinner. Then they go into town. He's going to introduce her to the family at the Elks Club.
So quickly.
Yeah, and they're at the Elks Club, and there's no seating, but they really wanted to he wanted to introduce her. So then they're dancing. He introduces the family. Then at 1:30, they stayed later than everybody else. The bar shuts down. The band stops playing. They leave at 1:30. They drive home, get home at around 2, and then there's a red pickup truck seen going down there. There's keys on the floor from the garage to the house. On the floor leading into the house. The door was bashed in of the bedroom, and there's no lock on that door, so they know that George was holding it shut. That's the only reason you'd need to bash it. Mm-hmm. And then they're found strangled. I think was their hands tied behind their back. I can't remember. Yeah.
Electrical tape.
Yeah, and then they're in a hood on both of their heads, and they were beaten in the face and strangled to death. And then a Masonic ring with the G taken. And a $16,000 diamond ring with a 2.5 carat of 7 quarter carats around it or something like that. And then a clock were taken, but police don't believe it was a robbery.
Yeah, because no cash was taken either, so there had to have been cash in the home, obviously, because they mention it. So, and there's nobody out of the 150 people that knew them who were anyway involved. So it could be something very, very random, like you said. Somebody followed them home, and then just got out of Dodge really quickly, which is why they couldn't find them.
Yeah, but it could also be a hit on him, because he was a pretty prominent business guy, cattle dealer. It's pretty ruthless sometimes over there. I mean, I don't know if you ever watch Yellowstone, but even though it's not a documentary, I think there's some realities in that.
Possibly. It just, I don't know, it does feel personal.
Yeah.
To choke them and...
Yeah, that's the thing. If it was a hit, why would you put hoods and you just take a silencer and blow their brains out and call it a day?
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know.
And so that's where then you bring back in the soon-to-be ex-husband, because if she's the one that left him and now she's dating somebody else, that's the only thing that mildly.
I'm sure he was suspect number 1, right?
Yeah.
He had an alibi then.
Yeah, they looked into him. So, anyways, that was it. What do you guys think of that one? How about this?
Crazy one.
Here, let's do I'm going to do a poll over here really quick, and then we'll switch over to yours. Let's see
who killed them.
Let me do it over here.
Yes or no? What's the question?
Well, let's see. I'm going to have like options. Oops. Wait, I already put a poll out. Yes or no? Oh, I didn't even do that one. I know what you're saying. Yes.
Or no.
Just type
yes.
Yeah. Just. Oh, I know what you're saying. I didn't actually hit the enter button there. That's weird. Let me hit.
Oh my God! I don't know the question, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You completed it. Now we do another one. What happened?
Yeah, messy for a hit, Tammy. I agree.
A hit. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think... hit doesn't make sense given they're beaten in the face. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it could be something where somebody was sent there to get something specifically, and he wouldn't give the information, and then was pounding them to get the information out of them, and ended up just taking the... So, I don't know. I wonder why police don't think robbery is possibly... just leaving the $200? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Let me do it. So a hit. What would be another option? Personal or
stranger?
Okay. All right. Now you guys can answer that one. Hey, thanks, Amy CHS and Elaine Talling. By the way, we can do. You want to do? We got $210 to give to a charity. It's right there. So we'll do that at the very end.
Yes, sir.
It looks like personal. Yeah. Most people like that one the best.
Yeah, it feels personal.
Yeah. It's almost, but it's almost like personal.
Strangled.
It's almost like personal, like they just wanted to pummel them, but didn't want them to know who they were. It's weird.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like they, pummeling them and strangling them. The hands-on part of it for me is personal. Typically you're not going to find a hitman who's going to strangle you to death unless maybe they're trying to get information out of you. But I don't know, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, personal 72%. A hit a stranger. Interesting.
So it hit second.
Yeah, nobody's ever found the ring either, so it's not like the ring was... Well, it could have been pawned elsewhere, sure.
Stranger doesn't seem that likely, just given... I mean, it could be a stranger to them, but if it's a hit, a stranger would be really strange to do all those things.
Like to follow them from the bar, they'd have to have the head coverings, they'd have to have electrical tape, in their cars to put, hoods on their heads and shit.
Well,
unless these are some random serial killers that we don't know anything about.
Well, it could, I mean, the thing is, it could be something like it's a stranger to them, but this person heard that George had something at that house. So he goes over there and, puts hoods on their heads to terrorize them, puts hands behind their back, and then tries to get the information, pounds them in the face. They're not answering, so then he kills them. The killing part's odd, like why would you need to kill them if they didn't recognize you and they hadn't seen you yet? But maybe he didn't wear a mask, and so he was terrorizing them, pummels them to find an item. But once he couldn't, find the item, maybe it never even existed, he then takes the ring and a couple other items to go pawn. But why not take the cash that's just sitting out?
Right, because if you're going to do all of that for the items, then you definitely need the cash. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I mean...
But you don't take the cash. Sounds very strange.
It'd be cool to get like the sheriff on and have him go through what he thinks.
Yeah, like is he around still?
Yeah, somebody's got to be. He might be retired. No, he'd be pretty old too. 1980. So that'd be. If he was 30 at the time, he'd be 72. But he's probably older.
Yeah, I mean, I just realized that it's been 25 years since Biggie Smalls died. So.
Yeah.
That's.
Right. Thank you, Tricia.
Yeah.
All right, let's. You want to do yours story now?
Sure.
All right. I think this is a good way to do it. Like I'll do a cold case, you do a, because they're interesting too, right? Like I think you're warming up to cold cases a little bit.
If they're interesting, sometimes.
Yeah, they're not always really interesting, but if there's, especially if there's a Masonic ring in it. Whoa.
And a truck.
Oh yeah.
I'm all over that, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Alrighty, here we go. So this is a very current case, Ciera. So my understanding of who Ciera is, she's 31 years old, and she is either already a lawyer or was about to become an attorney. And she's married. She was last seen, according to her blood family, her relatives, on 2/22/22. They traveled to Georgia, her husband, and her new baby. Both families live in Georgia, hers and his. So they went home, they were visiting family, and then they were leaving to go back to where they had moved, to Indiana, on the 23rd. So they were there for several days, 4 or 5 days, and then they were going back home again. That's the last anybody knew anyway. But nobody at all can confirm that she ever made it back to Indiana. Never. Nobody knows that she made it back or didn't make it back. They have no proof that she ever did. So this is her husband, Xavier. He didn't report her missing until 2/26. And he said the last time he'd laid eyes on her was 24 hours previously on the 25th. Now, he said she left on foot from their home and that she did not bring her cell phone, her purse, her car, the baby. And it was in the mid-20s. It's wintertime. It was freezing out. And he says that she was wearing a shorts and t-shirt and was going to the store near the house. There's no footage, no video footage or proof that she went to any of the stores nearby. He was arrested on an unrelated charge in Indiana and is waiting extradition back to Georgia. Now, the police have said, of course, he is a person of interest to them because he was the last one to see her. But his charges are very concerning.
A lot of times they keep some charges out there, so that, I mean, they don't put it high priority, but they like to keep them out there so they can bring you in if something bigger happens. It happens all the time.
They definitely did.
Yeah.
The former sister-in-law stated on Facebook, she said, Ciera had many issues with her husband. Her and Xavier came to Georgia to see family. On the 19th, she spent the night with her father, Ciera's father, this lady's father-in-law. Then she left back to Xavier's mother's house, which was in Johns Creek, also in Georgia. So both families lived there. Supposedly, they were leaving back to Indiana on the 23rd, but the last time anyone saw her was in Georgia on the 22nd. There's no evidence that Ciera ever made it back into Indiana. He reported her missing on the 26th, but said he hadn't seen her for 24 hours. He never contacted family to let them know. They found out when the police came asking questions, saying, you know, when's the last time you saw her? What, you know, was there any issue? So he hadn't even reached out, even though he had just been with that same family days before.
But so he reported her missing on the 26th.
Correct.
But never once contacted the family. And when was the day she went missing? The 20?
He says the 25th, but nobody saw her since the 22nd. You know, they went around to the family, said goodbye to everybody, and they were headed back onto the road on the 23rd of February. And they were getting ready to go. They were going to leave, go back home to Indiana. Now, I also have read things from her cousin. I believe his name is Justin. And he's just like, you know, ever since she left Georgia, she's changed. You know, since she's been with him, we were really, really close, but things were getting strange.
Sounds like an abusive.
He always felt that way. Yeah, well, we do know that there was an update just in the past day or so. Her family stated when she was visiting in February, she told them she was leaving him to return to Georgia.
I was going to ask you if she was going to be leaving her husband, because that's exactly what this sounded like. And here it is, next page.
Yep. Now, her husband currently has a protective order involving another woman for domestic violence. There's documents indicating aggravated stalking charges and escalated stalking charges against this other person. So
when was that?
Do
you know when that was? When was that?
I don't know how long ago exactly it was. I'm not sure. I've got to look up the documents, but the charges he was extradited on, I believe, have possibly something to do with this domestic violence issue. I'm not 100% sure. I need to look and find out. So
that'd be crazy if it was during the same time when he's married to her.
Yeah, it would be.
If it was before, it just means it's a pattern. But man, imagine if he's actually stalking somebody else while they're married. And she's a lawyer, right? And what does he do for work?
Studying to be one.
Does he work at McDonald's?
Exactly no, I went to his Facebook, and there's this really pretty brunette who he was hugged up with. But that was like 2 years ago. So could that be the person? It could be. I don't know. And I don't know what he does for a living. I need to dig further into both.
And they'd had a child together.
A 4-month-old baby.
And she's an attorney.
She also has a dog. that I think his name's Brady. I'm not 100% sure, but they said she was so attached to this dog, it was like her child, because this is her first real baby.
Mm-hmm.
But they said her dog is like her kid. And that there's absolutely no possible way. And she's super, super close to her family, in touch with them every single day, texting every single day. They haven't heard a word from her since she left Georgia. Not one word.
And where's the dog right now and the baby?
The dog is with family, and I don't know who the baby's with, who the baby was placed with.
Yeah, well, you can see a situation where, he probably doesn't do anywhere near as well as she does. And then she's a lawyer. She wants to get a divorce.
The chat just said, I believe he may have been her former client, and she is a lawyer.
Yeah, so she's with him, and she realizes we made a mistake, so she wants to leave him. And then he knows, oh my God, she's going to make me pay child support for 18 years here. And it's probably more than that, though. He was probably really controlling, and he didn't want, she's not going to leave him. And you're not going to make me pay all those years for, and then he did something to her. I don't think she's alive.
Sadly, I don't think that she is. The police did come out and ask for information regarding her car, 2017 Volkswagen Tiguan. I don't know how to say that. Georgia tag RMB 5869. Not because she was in the car, but they're hoping that maybe somebody saw them during the week of February 20th, the 23rd, 24th, or 25th. Did anybody encounter them? Did they see them arguing? Did everything look okay or whatever? And anybody with that information, this will stay up. You guys can pause and read all of the information there, but they are asking that if anybody knows anything about what in the world might have happened to her.
What does he claim happened? I mean,
he says that she was leaving for work, for the store, that she left with I mean, a t-shirt and shorts. It was 20 degrees outside. He says they got back to where they live, the Brookstone Park subdivision in Carmel, Indiana, that they were back. And then around 10 o'clock that night, she got up and was going to go to the store with shorts and a t-shirt on. She didn't bring a cell phone. She didn't drive the car. She didn't bring a purse. There's no footage of her on any camera anywhere. I don't think she ever made it back to Indiana at all. I think he did with their car. And he killed her along the way and dropped her body off somewhere.
And
that's
what's missing else? Is she missing like the cell phone, purse, everything of hers is gone, right?
No, it's all at the house. She didn't bring anything with her.
Yeah, well, see, that's an absolute. That's always the red flag right there.
Yep.
I mean, it's huge. So he says she went to the store, but went to the store to buy what with what? It's like.
Yeah, with what? No purse, no credit cards, no phone. No, nothing.
And how did she get to the store?
She was in shorts.
She just walked to the store?
He said she walked to the store, yeah. She was walking to the store.
Mm-hmm. Well, he had to say that because the car was there, but he forgot about all the other things.
Right, like she couldn't pay for anything unless she brought cash with her. If she's a smoker, maybe she grabbed $20 and was running to the store for cigarettes.
It'd be interesting if he was a prior client. Wouldn't it'd be cool to see what that case was about.
Well, we can see that. Let me just see here if I can.
Hey, I can look him up over here on something.
Yeah, if you can pull that up.
What's his name?
Xavier Breland. Breland.
Breland.
Land.
Yeah,
okay. Xavier.
And this is in what town is that?
Well,
where do they live?
They live in Carmel, Indiana, but both are from Johns Creek, Georgia, or at least he is. But I think she was a practicing attorney, I'm going to guess also in Georgia.
How old is he?
And they moved to Indiana together.
How old is he?
She's 31.
Is he 50-something? He's not 50-something, is he?
No, he's definitely not 50-something. No.
Wow. There's a guy, there's only one. No, look at this. Xavier V. Breland, 59, Carmel, Indiana. You think there's another Xavier Breland in Carmel, Indiana?
Would be the dad.
Yeah, I guess it could be, but doesn't
Yeah,
say.
it could be the dad because I'm looking on Facebook. This guy is not in his 50s.
Maybe the year is wrong on here.
He doesn't even have any gray hairs. Not that every 50-year-old has gray hairs. No, he's young. He's definitely not. No. Mm-mm. Let me see if I can find his birthday. No, you can't even search on his page.
Oh, is his name Zavon, not Xavier? Zavon, maybe? 21 years old? No, that's...
No, he's not 21.
Look at these crazy names. There's Zavon Tyrese Breland, and then Zyrese as another relative with X's. Oh, there it is. Xavier V. Breland. This one says Georgia, but it's weird. I did the whole country.
He was in Georgia.
Yeah, 37. That's probably him.
That would be him, I think, yeah.
Okay. That's weird because I did a whole nation search, and there was just the one. Now there's another one. Good job. Good job, Ben Verified. Let's see what he has for the...
Well, there is another Xavier, and he's in Oregon, and that is not him. I'm sure he's getting harassed, poor guy.
I'm just going to see if it pops up with anything criminal. He's got failed to... Let's see, there's a lot of car stuff. Interstate fugitive from Indiana. This is 2007. Wow, that seems to be going around. There's even YouTubers that are fugitives from Indiana. It's amazing. Let's see. So
I can tell you this. He has been wanted since last year on charges of aggravated stalking, violation of a temporary protection order, and harassing communications against his ex-wife. Those charges stem from 2 incidents in March and June of 2021, according to records obtained by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Mm-hmm. In March, he is accused of placing a tracking device in a stuffed animal and gifted it to a child, knowing the girl's mother would pick her up from school. It was the same type of tracking device that had been found on the woman's car a few months earlier. Then in June, he sent the woman a number of harassing texts in violation of the restraining order, warning her not to lose her cat in the woods. It's dangerous in there. The woman told police she had recently started letting her cat outdoors, and she was worried Xavier was still stalking her and may try to do something bad now that he had obtained her home address. Wow. So he knew, like, her cat was outside and everything in June of 20...
There we go. It's back on. It's back on.
Okay.
Hey.
So did you guys hear that? Thank you, Mama.
Well, it just disconnected right when I told you it disconnected. But you can say
okay.
That.
Did you hear what I was saying? What he did?
Yeah, about putting the thing in a stuffed animal.
And also about her cat in June of 2021?
Oh, yeah, he said that something about... Well, what did he do? Did he do anything to the cat, or he said don't go in the woods?
No, but that's what I'm saying. So he had to have had her address to know that she recently started letting her cat outdoors, right? So he sends her a text warning her, don't lose your cat in the woods. It's dangerous in there.
Yeah.
So he definitely knows now.
How did they find that tracking device in the stuffed animal? That's interesting. I wonder how they...
That must be their child together or something.
But that's recent, like right within...
June of 21, yeah.
Yeah, so that means he's already married to... How long has he been married to Ciera for?
Now we need to find out.
So now he's stalking other women while he's... Yeah.
Jessica Schubach.
That's what I always say. Jessica Schubach.
I know, that's 13. How you always say it. That's why.
Mama She 13. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Let's see here. So I'm just going through a little bit of what we know about him, and it does not sound good. He sounds horrible. I have been contacted by someone who was stalked by Xavier in 2020. She does not want her name shared at this time, but she did give me permission to share her story. And it says, "Hi, Stephanie. I went through a similar stalking situation with Xavier in September 2020. He put 2 trackers on my car and threatened to kill me. My kids and I had to leave our home for 2 weeks due to fear of him hurting them or myself. There's no doubt in my mind he has everything to do with her disappearance. When he got angry, it was like the devil staring you in the face. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. My heart goes out to Ciera and the family. Please keep my name quiet. I do not want my face out there."
Well, it's out there.
No, her name's not out there.
Oh.
They posted an anonymous post for her.
Oh, I see.
Thank God.
So that's the one with the stuffed animal and the cat and all that?
No, that's his ex-wife.
That's another one?
Yeah.
Wow,
And
so...
here's
well,
a surveillance video. This is the last surveillance video of them together. This is at the apartment. There's no sound on it. So.
Okay, what day was that? Were they leaving?
Let's see. This says the search is on for mother of 5-year-old baby who's just 5-month-old baby who disappeared 3 weeks ago. This was obtained home surveillance on Tuesday of 31-year-old Ciera. A contact familiar with these events told Channel 2 investigative reporter in the Ring video, Xavier and Ciera, who was his attorney at some point and then became his wife, can be seen on December 17, 2020, inside the apartment of Brittany Lusk, who the day before had gotten a protective order against Breland from the Fulton County judge.
So
they're in her apartment?
So who's in the apartment? Is that him and Ciera is in the apartment too?
That's him and Ciera in there. Is there any sound on this? Why is there... All right, hold on. Hold on.
That's crazy.
Xavier Breland Jr. and Ciera Locklear, who was his attorney and at some point became his wife, can be seen on December 17, 2020, inside the
That's a couple of years ago.
The day before had gotten a protective order against Breland from a Fulton County judge. The Lusk case is newly newsworthy.
That's just, she's breaking the law too. Jesus. What's she doing?
Anyone who has reported seeing Ciera Locklear Breland since sometime in late February, when Xavier Breland Jr. says he last saw her, and Breland is now a person of interest in her missing person case.
Xavier filed a police report in Carmel, Indiana, claiming that he last saw Ciera walk away from the residence.
Eventually, Judge Alexander Manning issued a permanent family violence protective order in Brittany Lusk's case, suggesting Breland had violated the Family Violence Act, committing family violence, and it placed Lusk, her family, and children in reasonable fear for their safety. A document from Breland's side said he denied he violated any Family Violence Act and/or other offenses.
Come on, leave me alone.
You know. Our contact says this recording, allegedly of Breland speaking to Ms. Lusk, was played in a court hearing. Seconds later, we obtained a January 2021 hearing transcript for one of several cases we found involving Breland and Ms. Lusk. It indicates Breland was asked, "So the recording that we just heard where you stated that her kids will come see her in a cemetery, was that not you? Is that what you were saying?" Answer: "No, that is my voice on there." Question: "Oh, okay, so you did make those statements in that threat?" And answer: "I didn't hear that threat. No, ma'am." Soon after, quote, "I did say it. I mean, it is just another time that she has been antagonizing me throughout the years, which is clearly why she, A, started her recording." He seemed to suggest that when antagonized, he might say things out of character. I can't say for sure whether it is in reference to the incident captured on the Ring video, but the transcript indicates Ms. Locklear said police came to the house on the 17th. Quote, "Ms. Lusk insisted that we be arrested, which we were not because we had not broken any laws."
I'd like to see what they're doing in there. What the hell are they doing in there?
Well, I think they lived together, right? Him and the ex. So maybe he was going to get his stuff out of the house.
Yeah, but what's she doing in there? She knows it's breaking the law.
She was his attorney at the time,
but that's
right?
not legal to go breaking in there. I mean, she's in the house.
Well, did they break in? Or, let's see.
Well, she shouldn't be inside that lady's house without her knowledge, regardless of...
I agree with you there, yeah. So let's just double check this. Winnie.
I wonder if he's kind of like lying and coming up with all these stories, and she's believing it. Like, oh, they're all tricking and they're looking.
It happens every single time.
Right? Yeah. And then it turns out she found out that he really was like that, and that's why she was going to get rid of him.
On a personal note, I can tell you that my sister's middle child, his father, is very much like this. When he's mad, it's like looking at a demon. It's very, very scary. And he currently has got a girlfriend who got him an apartment and a new Mercedes. His story, the way that he goes about these things, is he blames everything on the ex-girlfriends, on my sister. They're bad. They won't let me see my kids. They're mean to me. Every single female believes it. And then he's now he broke a girl's neck. Like I don't know what he did. He broke her neck before my sister. She didn't know about that. He broke my sister's eardrum. He's beaten up another girl who has a protective order on him. So every time they find out, oh my God, he's a scammer, and they try to get away, he'll hurt them, right? He's been in prison for assaulting a police officer. Just these guys are not as uncommon as we think that they are. And the way that they get away with it is they're really great manipulators. They're really, really good liars.
I mean, until
it goes too far.
It's crazy because right now there's one of the, freaks. One of my moderators has a situation with her daughter and a guy just like this. I mean, it's he's always showing up places, waiting outside in his car. They had to get camera. I mean, it's messed up. And
it's awful.
I actually called the sheriff's department down there, or the police department, like a week ago, to let them know, you know what, you guys, I do a lot of, I told them I do a lot of these shows, and this guy right here is escalating, and if something happens, I want to let you know that I just recorded me telling you. Then he called me back today just before the show. That's why I was struggling, and I didn't even know what he was talking about because it was like 6 days ago, and I reiterated the whole thing. So hopefully, the ball gets rolling. I mean, it's so weird. It's like, how do you protect these people unless you lock them up? Because if they're not locked up and you don't have somebody watching them 24/7, they can just go do whatever the hell they want to do, and they do it.
Yeah. I can say that the day that I met my sister's ex, I had a horrible feeling, and she just thought I was being overprotective. And I said, there's something really wrong with that guy. He's not okay. And she ends up moving in with him, and she doesn't find out for months that he won't get a job. He's manipulative. He wasn't even paying his own car insurance. She thought he had a great job. He had no job. They really can get away with this stuff. And he was a great talker. I would see him at Taekwondo practice with our kids, and he really could try and turn things around. He would call me in the middle of the night saying my sister was threatening him and behaving erratically. He would call my mother and say all of this, and we believed him for a little while. And then it comes out he was in prison for harming the other female. My sister ends up telling us that, she had to go live in an abandoned building and sleep on the floor because he kicked her out. And I'm like, what? What the hell is going on? Because he seemed crazy, and then he was so great at talking to you that you're like, well, maybe I'm the one who's crazy and I'm just judging this person. Yeah. So Ciera could have found herself in the same kind of situation. She's his attorney. He turns on the charm and, gets her to buy into his stories that they're just doing him wrong and it's not his fault. And I can tell you, my sister is extremely intelligent, and she bought everything that this man said until he was harming her. And then she's like, whoa.
It's almost like
her best friend looked into him. That's how we found out that he had been in prison.
Like, I think people end up, they think with their heart, not their mind, because, they want to believe somebody and they want to be loved. The thing is, here's one of the keys, I think, to anyone is to be really happy alone, absolutely by yourself. Just love yourself. Just be absolutely happy, content doing your thing. And then when you find somebody, you're not needy at all. You're going to find a great person. You're going to find a great person, But if you're somebody that's always like, you need somebody there, you'll just take whatever comes by a lot of times, and those are the predators find you.
Ooh, I tell you what, this guy, yeah, he's a predator. He is a predator. You know, I just saw a video tour of his new house. He hasn't had a job in, my nephew's how old now?
No, it's not
13?
an ideal, Amy. It's the truth. It's not an ideal. It's
no, it's very, very true. Yeah. I mean, my sister now is married, and I cannot say enough good about her husband. I can't say enough good. He's just a great person. But it took her being alone and really having to sit down and look at herself and say, you know, what am I doing out here? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ideal for sure, yeah.
Yeah, this is the...
So, this sounds horrible, whatever could have happened to her. Where is she? Maybe she ran. You know, maybe she ran, Gray. What do you think of that?
I think she would have contacted somebody, although
or tried to take the baby, or
her being an attorney. Yeah, I mean, well, where is the baby right now? Is it still missing?
I am not sure.
Because it said it was missing right here, didn't it? Or was that some other older story? I thought it said something about.
That's the other story. No.
That was weird. It said it was missing for 3 weeks, but it turns out that
No, she's missing for 3 weeks. Yeah, I don't know. The baby must have been placed with family members, I would assume, because he's in jail.
Yeah, there's no way she wouldn't have taken her daughter. I can tell you that.
Baby, yeah. I agree. She wouldn't leave the baby.
I mean, most women wouldn't just leave their daughter there.
CPS, Leah? They didn't allow the family to take them? Oh, gosh.
Well, whose family would it be? Where did she come from?
Hers, maybe? They're both from Georgia.
Okay, both from Georgia.
She's from Georgia.
But his dad lives in Indiana, I think.
No, now he lives in Georgia.
No, his dad, though.
Or maybe his dad, because...
yeah.
Okay. They went to visit his mother in Georgia, and they went to visit her parents in Georgia.
Okay, so that means so he probably moved them to Indiana near his dad.
They did. He did. And, her cousin was very concerned about that, saying, since she's been gone in a way, things have been very different.
He wanted to isolate her from her friends.
They always do. Yeah,
it's so
because
crazy.
My sister ended up moving to a different state with this idiot.
You know what's weird? It's almost like
she couldn't get to us quickly.
It almost feels like it's almost like a disorder in a way, because it's so similar with all of. I mean, it's almost like an absolute,
very similar,
like a mental disorder, which doesn't excuse anybody. I'm just saying, because it's exactly the same in every one of these almost. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I agree. I 100% agree. I don't know how they get away with it for so long, and they get these successful women who, on the outside, seem fine. They're educated, they're outgoing, they're happy, and then the next thing you know, they're in these relationships that are so toxic. You're like, how the hell did you get here?
That means that they aren't. That's a facade, then, that they're displaying to the outside world. The women. I mean, the women are, so they're. Because the only way you'd end up with somebody like that is that you weren't feeling that good about yourself. Because you know that there was some stuff that he was doing early on that were red flags that she just wanted to ignore. Yeah,
I met him, and it was, it's not an exaggeration. He walked out of her bedroom, and I said to her, how long have you known him? And she's like, a week. And I said, he's in your bedroom? What the hell are you doing? And she was like, oh, stop, you're not my mother. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I sat and talked to him for less than 5 minutes. And I went back into her room and said to her, no, this guy he's very off. She's like, you are weird. He's fine. He has a great job. He's college educated, blah, blah, blah. None of that was true. There's no college education. There was no job. Wow. Nothing he told us was true. And I was like, wow. And he had this criminal record a mile long for hurting women.
Wow, good. Sounds just like that one YouTuber. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It never ends.
No, it doesn't. They romanticize you and he's still that way today. I just saw a video tour of his apartment and it is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And he hasn't had a job in like 10 years. So I'm like, what? So
he must
I don't know.
He must be good looking then, because he
is very good looking. He is very good looking. Yeah.
Got a lot of sugar mamas out there. They're scammed a lot of different people. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think we should donate money to RAIN today then.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's violence again.
Dealing with all of this craziness for these ladies.
All right.
But I agree. I'm going to stop sharing. Do you want to flip the screen over?
Yeah, let's see.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, look at that.
It didn't work.
No,
is that your screen?
Yeah,
oh,
that's mine.
Good. I'm like, what is that?
And what is it? 210. That's how much. Yeah, so we're going to donate 25% of, at the end of each month. Last month we didn't do too well in here. But if you guys want to become channel members or send in super chats, that's what we're going to be sending in, 25% of the net revenue that comes in. And then we're also, I think we should do the thing with the mug. We could do a mug, and you can do a spin, and you win the So Mean. But we got to design it. Well, you design it. I'll just give you the dimensions. You put something with that So Mean allegedly there, and then maybe So Mean and allegedly by itself somewhere. You know, you're a designer, so I'll send you the layout, and then we'll make one. All right, let's see. All right, so we're on RAIN here, so I might have to take it off the screen once I hit the. All right, so right here is going to be. This is a random amount because it was 206 was the 25%, but that looked like a dumb number. 210's even kind of weird, but all right. So
here we go.
There we go. And let me move it over here. Just in case.
Let's not be giving people all your PayPal information.
well, sometimes it puts like your address. I mean, my address is already out there. I don't really care. All right.
Thanks, Jessica. Malfi has been a member for 2 months. Yeah, my sister's aha moment was when she had to sleep alone in a cold building in the winter.
And yes, see how it says Lance there, you guys?
Lance Hughes! Yeah,
that's because I've told the story 1,000 times, but the super sleuths out there, they always go, ooh, Lance, and they think, they figured it out. I've only told the story 1,000 times. I was born L. Gray Hughes. That's what my parents wrote on the birth certificate. I was going to be called Gray, like just an initial L. Gray Hughes. That was it. And then the doctor, who was a family friend, he goes, L, and he wrote Lance on there. And my parents were like, just leave it there. And it's just caused it's caused nothing but it's caused nothing but grief. It's like, yes, my name's Gray, but it says Lance here. It's just ridiculous. Anyways,
were they really just going to call you L?
No, they were going to call me Gray. It was just an initial, like L. Ron Hubbard. He doesn't there's no name there.
Oh yes, L. Gray. L. Gray. I think that's what I'm going to call you from now on, L. Gray. Love you too, Ashley.
All right, so
isn't that crazy? Right, my actual real name is a man's name, and my mother heard it as she was going in to deliver me because I was supposed to be a boy. She had no female names picked out. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah, hold on.
She's like, I didn't want a girl. I'm like, well, that's encouraging. I appreciate that.
I've got to prove, everyone goes, hey, how do we know you sent it in? So let me go find. I got to go to my.
People actually ask you that? Like,
there's psycho wackos out there. And apparently I'm not supposed to write off charitable donations just out of the goodness of mankind, I guess. So
you just be showing your whole shit.
Yeah, there it is. There it is right there. You sent $210 to RAIN. It just came in.
I think we have really good people over here, and they don't think that.
Well, it doesn't matter. Somebody will watch it later. Hey, how do we know that just? Yeah.
Because we're not liars from Liarville.
Yeah. All right. Well, doesn't that feel good? So we just sent in 210, and hopefully we'll do more. We've been planning to do more shows. I think we just found this is a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
She'll do a missing person or whatever she wants. It could be a murder that's recent, whatever. And then I'll do the cold cases. All right? And we're
going to try and keep them like right around an hour-ish. Not too long. But, hour 15, 20, something like that. Yeah, like, when I get on, I'm like, this is going to be really quick.
Yeah.
3.5 hours later, I'm like, oh, what have I accomplished today? 0.
Yeah, and you guys, we're going to be doing Crime Con, so if you guys want to come by, check it out. We got to go get some stuff, though.
I know.
We need to get
I'm
pens.
taking care of the banner, so you take care of the other things. Whatever you were saying you were going to do there.
Well, I never got the thing back. We were going to get the, those exercise balls with our faces on it, so you could just squish it. Okay.
People are going to squish
the stress balls, not exercise. This little stress ball. Yeah.
Do we stress you out? Squash our face.
That's right. There you go.
Why not?
Yeah. And by the way, if you're not a channel member, please consider.
You should be.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So we got thank you to Elaine Talling, Amy CHS, Trisha Whistler, Delva Johnson, Mama She 13 with a I always call them cat eye donation, but thank you for the $50 one. Paulette Leonard. And then also Malfi down there.
Yep, we're going to have a booth at CrimeCon.
Yeah, we're going to have a booth. I was going to do CrimeCon, and then I go, it'd be more fun if it was me and Chasing there, since we have this channel, and then we can also have our own little stuff on the side, And so here we are. We're going to do it.
We are.
She has a much longer trip than I do. I'm going to try to drive there. I mean, I'm not going to try. I'm going to drive. But I'm going to leave I think I'm going to leave on Wednesday morning, drive maybe 10 hours, and then the next day I have 300 to go or something, and then get there on Thursday sometime.
That is just, I'll have a 5-hour flight, and I'll just go up and go to bed.
Yeah, but it's kind of, I wanted to drive it just to sort of see what's going on out there. So.
Somebody was asking about Ciera's baby. It looks like CPS does have the baby, but that was 7 days ago. I haven't seen any update on where her baby is, her little boy. So I don't know what the update to that is. So
yeah. So hey, you guys, thank you for sending in your the super chats and channel memberships, because that's why we were able to just do the 210 there, man. It'd be cool at some point if we get to really large where we could just be doing those bigger things too, like maybe do our own DNA identification on this one.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be sweet?
It would be.
Yeah. Yeah, so what did you guys think of those stories? They were pretty interesting, right? I mean, I know most people are into the recent ones, but...
Oh my gosh, I'm yawning so much. I'm sorry. I've been up since the crack of dawn.
It's okay.
I need to get it together and eat something.
So it wasn't what I just said? Are you sure?
No, Greg.
Oh, God, I'm just...
It's so ridiculous. Shut up. No.
Oh, man.
It's sitting in here with all these damn friggin' sounds of water in here. I'm like, sheesh. It's making me die. Huh? No, Jose cannot come with us.
You like that sound effect? Listen to this one.
No, what is that?
No, that's Alec Murdoch. You know that guy that all those rich people. Yeah, I think we talked about it one time.
Yeah, Murdoch.
So one time he's interviewing with his brother. He says, "Huh? Oh, you know what? My Amazon just thought I said her name. I didn't say Alexa. I said Alec. Okay. Hey.
Oh, she's talking.
Hey, Alexa, stop. All right. God, I hate Alexa. But listen to this one right here. Listen. It's
a house.
Okay. So this is what's crazy. So everybody, just so you know, that sound effect right here, this is him again.
It's a house.
All right. So he's on a 911 call, and his wife and his kid are dead on the ground, and it's at his property. But the thing is he's the main suspect in their deaths, right? So he's on their property, He's on the property. He's calling 911, and the 911 operator had the gall to say, "Do you live in a trailer or a house?" And he said,
It's a house.
like that was what he was really angry about. "Hey, everybody. I live in a house. Don't you know who I am?" I think it's a yeah. Do
How's
it.
that sound?
Wait, do it again. Okay, try to imitate it. Here we go.
It's a house.
It's a house.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's not bad.
Oh my god. Yes, Connie, he's staying under the porch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jose cannot come. No. Jose's stuck under the porch forever in the concrete. Why do you think I laid down concrete pad? Where he lives.
So wait, what about you? Do you live in a house or a mobile home?
A house!
See, I knew you'd do it. There you go. How dare you, you idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick with it, aren't I?
All right. Okay. Well, anyways, that's it. So let's try to do one this weekend too. All right.
Let's try.
Well, it's not
I'm
just
gonna
try.
be out
Let's do
buying
one.
fish water and trying not to kill my fish, but we could do one in the evening. Probably.
Like what time your evening?
Like 6:30 my time.
So it'd be like 3:30 mine. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, because what time do you do your shows?
That's usually like between.
Like
I usually
crazy
start between
time.
5 and 7. You know, I don't really have an exact time.
Yeah, so if we did like an hour,
Yeah,
hour and 15,
Yeah.
my time.
that's fine.
Yeah, as long as you were prepared.
Yeah.
Prepared for your show, I mean.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Just come on and just start being curly mowing.
House!
Yeah. God, you're pretty good at that one.
It's a house.
It's a house. Yeah. I don't know. You have the higher pitched voice. You can do it.
I do.
Yeah. All right, you guys. So I think that's about it, right?
Yes. What is this?
So you can stay on. Are you done? Just for a minute, you know.
Literally.
Yeah. Jesus. I suck. All right, here we go. Anyways, thank you guys for being
Don't
here. And
talk during the outro.
That's right. Be safe out there.
No, don't.
It's a house.
Don't talk.
Huh?
That sounds horrible.
Woo! Be safe.